Good afternoon, everybody. It's your good friend, Rafa Sparza, coming to you live. It is 1:08 on Best Coast time. It is a pleasure to see you guys. I've had to take a couple days off because it turns out when you try to commentate for about 6 or 7 hours, you're a little dead on the inside. Also, not gonna lie, I was a little sick then. And somehow, as a professional, I was able to make it through it. Now, the guest that we have on today, he is one of the gentlemen who I commentated a match for. And I was very impressed by him. Now, I know of him as a competitor, as a human as well. However, it was very fun to commentate his match. What makes it all the more interesting, though, is I put it up to a vote, and I said, hey, jerks, tell me who you'd like to see on the show. And this gentleman had a lot of support, and from a lot of people who I don't like. And I sometimes wonder if I should not count those votes. But it turns out I like him. So I decided I was going to bring him onto the show so we could talk a little bit about his amazing performance over at Fight to Win. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Albert Tapia. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, thank you for having me, Ralph. Doing well.
Oh, so how do you pronounce your name?
Just like you said it, the Tapia.
Okay.
You know.
Because I saw you have the shirt with the Tapatio kind of thing, and it kind of like, you know, with my Ron Burgundy slow head, I start getting very worried. Like, am I going to say this name right? You know, and it's a great marketing campaign, but I start thinking, like, are the accent marks where they're supposed to be? Am I doing this right?
So, as you said, the shirt, I actually didn't come up with the idea. So I got to credit that to my students from UFC Gym La Mirada. I had Jamie Ocampo, who drew it. He was an artist. I had Naira, who did the graphic design on it, and Steve Bolo, who printed it for me as like a surprise, like as a gift.
That's awesome.
And then we went from there, and people loved the shirt, and I just started selling them, you know. So that's where it started. I even had a little onesie for my son. He was sporting to at the Fight to Win events. He didn't wear it at this one, but previous ones he wore it too. So
that's pretty adorable. Now, here the best question that I have to ask that begs it is: are you a spice person? Do you actually put Tapatio on stuff? Because I'll let you know this: you have a brown look to you, and that comes with responsibilities.
So I think the only time I do use it is like with pizza, like ranch dressing and tapatio sauce. Every once in a while, I'll
Intriguing.
use it for something else, but I actually don't use spices. I don't like to make other things hot. I'll eat them if they're hot, but I don't like to make things more hot than what they already are.
Wow, wow. This is breaking news right now, people. I feel like every Mexican watching this is probably like, get him off now. He's no longer on the show. He's going to use Tapatio, but he's not going to have spices. He's fired. Let me tell you this, okay, and I'll be very, very forthcoming. I am not a spice person. I know the big rage right now is putting heat on chicken. So a lot of people love these hot chicken things, and I'm not that person. I know all of my friends, they literally train, and they're just like, oh, if my mouth is dying, I feel alive. And I go, that's just weird.
Nope, I'd rather enjoy the flavor than dying on the side. So
Fair enough. Okay.
one.
Let me ask this, dude. I mean, did it feel good to have support coming through? Because, I saw you put it up there, but there were a lot of people who voted. And, I'm going to mention some names, but did it feel nice to be voted up there? Because, again, I was very impressed by your performance, but I left it to a vote. And it's very nice when those things coincide where the people have the very same kind of feel that I do.
Yeah, it felt awesome. I think they're like one of the reason people vote for me when I go out there. Dude, I just love to have fun. I try to bring the crowd into the match and not just do jiu-jitsu. As like weird as that sounds, I'm out there like somehow trying to entertain the crowd. There's parts I could pull out of that match, right? Definitely brought the crowd into it. That they're gonna make remember me. So whether I think that's not as surprising. A lot of people talked about it after, so it's cool to get the support though.
Hey, and you deserved it because that was a spectacular performance by you. Let's ask this. You told me off air, and I didn't ask any more than this, but you told me off air that you did listen to my commentary.
Yes.
Okay. What did you think about that?
Um,
Was I fair to you? Did I say nice things about you?
oh yeah, definitely. Like I was sitting here like, he gets it. He's on top of the, me mixing up the changes and the takedowns and just admiring takedowns, and jiu-jitsu starts on your feet. So I like when people like respect it, acknowledge it. So that was awesome. I think the only one where I was like a little hurt was when like a lot of people don't respect the north-south choke. I was like, if he knew me, he knows this match is over when I'm in that position. So I think that's the north-south is my seminar technique. It's my go-to.
Fair enough.
Well,
it's nice. I mean, I'll say this though: it looked because your opponent at the time was trying to create the frames that kind of those frames of life kind of things. And I'm a person who plays a lot of defense with a number of people that I roll with. So when I speak about those things, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's how I would stay alive. It's not saying like, oh, this guy blows with his north-south. It's just a matter of looking at the situation and saying like, this guy's still in this fight, and you have to determine or you have to tell the audience as to why. Because otherwise, you would have massacred the dude, and then you just was like, oh, well, the north-south choke, it's self-explanatory. But if it looks like a legitimate choke and you're not quite finishing in that second, you have this dead air where we go, all right, here comes the north-south.
no, yeah,
okay,
yeah. I'm gonna take both sides. So I mean, that was just
well. Here's the reason why I think it was funny is I think I'm hoping that I give you the same highlight that I think you gave me, which is there's a moment on the commentary where I distinctly remembered getting your timing down.
Yes,
and I took a bold just. Because rhythm is good to me, so it's not like my wrestling's great or anything, or I have some sort of weird insight into all of the wrestling, but it was very clear that your wrestling was good at a certain point. But the thing is sometimes I put myself in the match, and I just started being like, this guy's going to shoot in the next 5 seconds. I just feel it. I know it's going to happen. And lo and behold, my timing could not have been better. I literally counted down to the moment you actually got, and you may correct me on this, but it definitely looked like a double leg at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It was you got it right on. It was like you started at three, you're like three, two, blast double.
And I was just so like, you know what? Like I was confident it was going to come out that way, but the fact that it's going to be something that we both have as highlights now, you can put that in on your highlight of being like, yo, 3, 2, and on my side, I'm like, you only get so many of those as a commentator, so I definitely laughed pretty profusely when I saw that worked out. Did you have a good laugh when you saw that
Oh,
happen?
I think there's a couple of us. I was with my family, and like we were all watching it because obviously, they only saw it from live. But so to come back and watch it like with the commentary, it was very entertaining. We all had a good laugh.
Oh, that's
So
pretty good. That's pretty good.
yeah,
Yeah. And granted, just because I can time it doesn't mean I can stop it. I can 100% tell you it's probably coming. But that was something that I was very, very impressed with. So tell me this, because you fought with Fight to Win for a number of times. This was your 7th fight overall. You have a very, very winning record with them. How did this match come together, and what did you feel like going into it?
So right now I've been kind of going back and forth between Sacramento and LA. So I applied after my last 2 Fight to Win shows. I lost my last one, but this one he just offered me, and I thought the kid was from Hawaii, but I guess he's from SoCal. I just wasn't aware, and I took it. Didn't watch anything on it, and really I was just hyped up. Like I don't see any reason why I shouldn't be on any Fight to Win shows with the record that I have right now that I applied for. So
Yeah. Well, let me ask this. Okay, so you said when that was coming in, what did you know about your opponent going in? Because you, and I hesitate to use the word swag here, but you had a certain element of, very quickly in the match, to my opinion, it looked kind of like you knew you had the match if you wanted it. And to me, there's a difference between having confidence and being that kind of grappler. But to me, it looked like you would get a takedown, and on a couple of them, you're like, nah, and you got right back up after you got one. So to me, it's like, are you just demonstrating a large, wide variety, or did you just kind of feel like, oh, this is going exactly to plan, kind of a thing? Like, what was that mentality?
so where it started was I watched his one match that I could find was back from Hawaii, and he got taken down there. So I was like, okay, cool, takedowns. And I saw that he heel hooked his opponent. So I was like, okay, that's all I really have to be cautious about. So if I stay on top, I'm fine. So then where it really picked up was right before the match. We were talking in the back, and he was just as excited to have the match with me because he saw all my previous matches and how much fun I have. Mm-hmm. And he's like, so I took it, and I was like, oh, so you like to have fun? Cool. We're gonna play around a while. And then after the first takedown, like I was like, okay, cool. If I want to fall in a position, I'll make that happen. If I don't, then we'll just get right back up and go at it again. So yeah, he did feel actually pretty ankle lock savvy when I dropped into like the Eminari roll and the Ashi.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then his coach, I think, messed it up for him right there, because when I sat to that Ashi, his coach was like, oh, this is where you're comfortable, this is where you're good at. And I was like, well, guess we're not coming here no more. So I was like, well, there you go. I'm not going back to any ankle locks. We'll just play where I'm comfortable, So.
But again, to your credit there, it was interesting to see you in that spot because you had what I would refer to as a good clamp, but you had enough time to feel it out and then some. Like sometimes you don't get that luxury there, but it looked like as much as that was a good position for him, you not only seemed comfortable enough to be like, yeah, go for it, dude. I need to take a minute to analyze what you're doing here. And then hearing his coach, I'm sure, told you like, all right, let's redirect the course here. But the whole time I'm watching you in that position, I mean, the Eminari roll into it, it just looked very, very smooth.
Yeah, when I sat to the Ashi, like I said, you can see his awareness too. Mm-hmm. As soon as I sat to it, Dorsey flags locked up. He sat there comfortable as well. And I'm comfortable with it. Out of my 4 submissions for Fight to Win, 2 are with the, heel hooks. So I'm not unaware of that game. Mm-hmm. And then 2 with north-south. So I just felt his awareness, and I was like, okay, like I don't want to get into this like high noon battling out. Let's see who gets who. Like, let's just make it one sided. Let's go back up.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I was very, very happy to see how that worked out, and it went your way. And, like I said, it's always fun when you can kind of see an athlete playing up to the crowd and getting them excited. Tell me a little bit about this, because one of the things I was curious about just in watching what you were doing is I harped on this a lot just because I do have a large appreciation for those who do use wrestling to their advantage. Tell me a little bit about your wrestling background and where that comes from.
I started wrestling my sophomore year of high school. Not my freshman year, because unfortunately I thought wrestling was gay. Sorry about the use of words, but it just didn't appeal to me. Two guys half naked grappling, I was like, nope. And then it carried on from there. Had a good, successful, first few outings, and then it just continued on. I went to wrestle community college and then in Texas. After that, I coached women's and men's college wrestling in Texas. And then about 3 years ago, I came out here. So switched it up.
So are you originally from Texas?
No, I'm from Sacramento, California.
So how did you end up in Texas?
I went to school to wrestle there and then coach.
Okay. And what school were you at there?
Wayland Baptist. Private university, and NAIA school. Okay. So it was the first college wrestling program in the state of Texas.
Oh, really? So, okay.
Yes. At the start, my first year was the first year they had it.
All right. So wrestling is obviously the base. Where does jiu-jitsu find its way into your career?
So jiu-jitsu came in actually a little late. I started fighting. My first fights were actually in kickboxing and boxing.
Okay.
And MMA. And then did well in MMA until, obviously we always have that one fight where we get submitted pretty quick, pretty comfortably. And you're just like, all right, time to go actually learn it, not just roll around and think I know it, not what they call it, anti-jiu-jitsu, just wrestling, pressure passing, you're fine. But then you run into some people who enjoy that and lock you. That's what happened, right? So I started jiu-jitsu out in Texas at an academy, Clay Pittman, a Machado lineage, and then I came out here, and my first year was a lot of jumping around. So, and then I finally got settled in with 10th Planet at Timoyama. That's where it started.
Very nice. Okay, yeah, I mean, the weird part about it is I think we are starting to see, and part of it is because of that open-mindedness, but there is now becoming more of an appeal of wrestlers within the 10th Planet system. I mean, Quinones is pretty good at it, even though he's a garbage human being. PJ obviously is quite impressive at what he does. So, it's nice seeing these individuals who can mix it up on the feet and who have a very strong recognition of a series of systems that they can use. So for me, I'm looking at that stuff and I go, yeah, no, you mix nicely into there. Let me ask this. When did you know that you were hooked or addicted to jiu-jitsu? Because it's different than loving wrestling.
I really was towards the end of, I'm not going to say the end. After my last fights, I kind of started focusing on just jiu-jitsu. And I would say it's about a good year and a half ago is where we're really stuck. And then also, one of the rash guard I had on Sunday or Saturday night was ATTC, All Things Through Christ, which is my sponsor. And he's actually just joined. That's who I said hello to, Rick. So, yeah, he helps us with a lot of jiu-jitsu tournaments and has allowed me to get the opportunity just to constantly go out there and, whether it's no-gi or gi, just be active. And being active in something allows you to, start picking apart what I'm need to work on, what I'm good at, and then also just teaching. So, like I said, I think I told you earlier, I teach at UFC gym, and, I got to start, a lot of basics there. And so got to kind of get back to the roots for myself, and that's what that's what started to really stick about jiu-jitsu. I think was probably the teaching and the constant competition.
Of course, you're referring to, I think, Senor Alarcon, who
Yes.
is, his son's not bad.
His son beat me like a couple weeks ago. But then he took me out to dinner, so I was like, hey.
Hey, you know what? That's actually hey, listen, I'll tell you this much. I've lost a lot of things in my life. No one's taken me to a dinner after soundly thrashing me. I'll tell you this much, man. I really enjoy, they're such nice people, man. And
Yes.
you couldn't ask for just better, humble, hard workers than them, man. And between them and their little brothers, who also suck, but actually, it's just Rich. Rich just sucks. That's it. Everybody else is great. But to me, I
don't think he likes you, Rich. Just in case you're watching.
Rich knows what he's done in his life against me. And it's funny because Rich also had a match that day.
He did.
So when that was happening, I got to watch him versus Mike, and for me, that was literally super fun because I just told people, I'm like, this is Switzerland for me. These are two of my friends, and I really like both of them, and I'm just gonna commentate. And his opponent, Mike, actually, his friends, he's a breakdancer. His friends in his breakdance crew apparently told him, they're like, yo, dude, they were saying you were talking trash about me. And I was like, did they? And he's like, yeah, dude. And somebody was there and they ended up filming me talking trash to his crew. And I was like, you guys are in a battle crew? And you're mad that I talked trash about your guy? Like, you couldn't handle that? So I gave him a lot of mess for that. But, that is one of the benefits of being on the card is there are a lot of my friends who I know, and I know people are going to put on great performances, and that's really all I could ever ask for. But, everybody that I've known, be it Rich or Rick or all these people, they're super nice individuals. But also, for Rick, though, I've definitely heard him yell out like a true wrestling father at some competitions, including combat jiu-jitsu, where I'm like, yeah, I know who that is. It's definitely the Pops over there. So.
Oh, yeah, he's at every event. Just great supporter,
That's amazing.
Good to see that, yeah.
That's so great, dude. And you know what? I'm curious about this because you have an entry into two different worlds that I think competition is a part of, but in very distinctly different ways. In your opinion, what is the difference, or one of the biggest differences you've seen between jiu-jitsu competition and wrestling competition?
Oh, man. Wrestling, just so much more brute aggression and, like, the middle finger till after the tournament, then maybe you guys will talk. But, like, it's just so much more relaxed, fun. Even before, like I said, I was talking to my opponent before the match, talking it up, chatting it up, and when we're going to train together. You won't get that in wrestling. Oh, hey, when are we going to train together? No, screw you, dude. Like, you're on the other team, But, I mean, once, you go to the practice rooms, it is different. But just competition is just so much more just, like, head-on difference, a lot of physical grind compared to jiu-jitsu, in my opinion. So
that makes sense. Have you... I mean, as a coach, I'm curious as to what you see, because, you say you're working a lot on fundamentals with people, but I think there's a nice guidance that can happen when you have somebody who's been through both. And so, what are some of the things that you see that jiu-jitsu people could improve upon that would be a better way of implementing the wrestling? Because, again, I've seen people with good wrestling on shows. I've commentated their matches. But I don't know that they've been as exciting as something that you put together on Saturday. I feel like that's something that I wish more matches could aspire to, because there's an element of fun, but an element of tenacity that's equal to that fun.
I mean, just from the technique part, as you mentioned, initially starting what people could work on, I think the biggest things I do when I teach classes is a lot of situationals, just reps and situationals. And I'm not going to teach you something and then say, hey, go live, have fun, go do what you're good at it, and, like, disregard whatever we just learned. I'm big on situationals, so I'll teach it, and then they're forced to use that technique for that class, especially my fundamentals class. And like, if I teach an advanced class, then we'll get a little bit more live rolls. But fundamentals, I'm very specific. Now, going on to the stage, that's different. Like, again, as I mentioned, I love to bring in the crowd. Like, I interact with the crowd. Sometimes you see people just focused on the match, which is good. Sometimes you need to be. But whether I'm getting my ass kicked or I'm putting it on somebody, I'm still engaging, still having fun. Like, I'm acknowledging people that are there, and it just like picks up the spirits. I'm able to kind of engage with that match better. So I do the same thing with MMA too. So it's no different for me.
So let me ask this: where is your MMA career? Like, are you stopped doing fights? Are you still doing fights? Where are you at with that?
So I haven't fought in a year and a half. Like November, I took like 3 losses in a row, and not that I recently had a son, 5 months as of yesterday.
Congratulations.
Not that stopped me from fighting, because he's been to every competition with me except one. He's been to like 6 competitions. So he goes to practices and whatnot. I just been jumping back and forth. I was in Sacramento for a while, and when I came back to SoCal, I'm now in Torrance. And initially I was training at Team Oyama, so where I'm struggling right now is just finding a solid place to where it fits my time. I do want to get back in there. I love competition. I want to get a couple more before I'm like, hey, okay, I'm done. So can't go out, own my last 3. Just this still stings a little bit, so
Yeah, of
gotta
course,
get back.
of course.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the good news: you could have better, or I'm sorry, you could have worse options than Team Oyama. So you're definitely in a good spot to have some really, really good caliber training partners who can help you get there. It's just a matter of, I get curious because I find with so many wrestlers, once they're done, that replacement of competition is a difficult thing to replicate. Because I find that a lot of them are like, yeah, sure, jiu-jitsu, whatever, just whatever keeps you on the mats. And then some of them go the way for MMA. But it's really hard to take that sense of competition out of people. So I'm just always curious, especially now when you do have momentum coming on your jiu-jitsu side. It's also totally cool to be like, hey, man, there's a good thing going here. And obviously you're very exciting when you put your matches together. So it is something to consider, but I get where you're coming at. Plus, it'll be nice too when I'm sure you're older and you'll be able to show your son and be like, oh yeah, did you see that Dad had this? Dad was really good, kid. You don't know. Dad's all fun and games with you, but Dad would put it down if he needed to.
Yeah, you don't have to, Aaron. So real quick, he's right here. Actually, let me see.
Oh.
Let's see. He's hanging out. This is the little one.
What's his name?
Aaron Moses Tapia.
Hey, Aaron.
So he goes to every event. Like I said, he's been to. The only event he missed was because he was like 2 weeks old, and that was in San Diego. Other than that, he's been to 3 fight to win shows, 4 fight to win shows, 3 fight to win shows, and like 3 tournaments and a bunch of practices. So
here's the question, though. I mean, it clearly looks like he's been a good luck charm to you, though. Has he been cut in on any of your profits?
No, he goes to all my, like I said, goes to all my practices.
Oh, dude, he's got that look. He's just being like, Dad, you need to pay me now. Look at me. I don't come to these things for free.
He draws the attention. He's like my little marketing device for the shirt. Like I said, when he has the onesie, everybody's like, sell me one. So I use him as marketing.
Well, you are quite blessed. So that is an amazing thing. How hard is it? And you can tell me whatever you want to. I just, the crux of my parenting is I have a dog. And when I did get a dog, it's not quite like a kid, but it did impact my training. So what does that feel like for you in terms of like, with a young son so early, like, I know it's got to be hard to get away for training. How do you balance that?
Well, one of the things I do is I spend a lot of time with him in the morning. So like if I wake up, we're fortunate. He's a good sleeper. He's like 10 to 6. 10 to 5. But I wake up and like I hang out with him for a good hour, 2 hours before I go to work or go to train or whatnot, And if I train in the evening, I make sure I train in the afternoon. Or if I work in the evening, I train in the afternoon. So like I make sure I spend my time with him. I don't try to neglect that time spent but I think the best thing that is like I just wake up earlier to hang out with him earlier, because he's gonna go back to sleep anyways. He wakes up, eats, shits, plays a little bit, and then he's back out. So for that, 2 hours he's back out. Like, hey, that's a good time for me to go get stuff done, like go train,
I'm so glad that you say it like a true athlete dad. It's like I go work and he sleeps. This bum, look at him.
Yeah, that's all he does. Right.
Just like being like, this kid needs to be training. I need to get him on a regimen. I guess, is it go without saying that this is a young man that's going to find himself on the mats too when the time is right?
Like I played all sports in my life growing up, all the team sports, baseball, football, basketball, everything, soccer, rugby. So, I mean, I'm going to introduce him to sports and, hopefully he enjoys it as much as I did. He's going to start off with wrestling before jiu-jitsu, though, if he does decide to do it. And, that's based off him. Like, I would hope he does it. I encourage him to do it. And then if he sticks with it, awesome. So it's up to him.
So let's talk about this, because I'm genuinely curious about kind of what is next. Because for you, okay, let's talk. 6-1 is a good record for Fight to Win. That's a really, really solid record. I've seen other people have not great records and get title shots. Is that something that you're actively looking at?
Yeah, I bug Seth, and he tells me every show. But it'll happen when it happens. I'll still be on it. Well,
what's he telling you is the hesitation?
Nobody else has that type of record. So it's kind of hard to bring somebody else in and just give them a title shot, I think right now, probably one of the better fights for me would be, I think, Jenner John out of, like, Reno. I don't know anybody who has more than, like, 3-4 wins at 135, so I think maybe Jenner John has like 3 or 4. That's about it. So
wait, hold on. I need to figure out. This doesn't sound right. You have too good of a record that they can't give you a title shot or give you a title period?
Yeah, right. Either I'm assuming so. We'll have to ask Seth for that clarification. But I think because nobody else has no other wins, so it's like, should he give them the opportunity to fight for a title when they have, like, 2 wins?
But that doesn't make any sense. That's so silly. That's just like, you know what? You've done such a good job, but a little too good of a job, so just chill out. We don't got a title for you.
Yeah. But keeping me on the show, I'm fine with that too, so still get paid.
All right.
Still get to do it. So title will come sooner.
Fair enough.
Hopefully
So when you say that you and Alarcon had your match, though, was that at the Kasai qualifier?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
What was that experience like? Because I meant to go down there and cover it. I just didn't get the opportunity to do so, unfortunately. What was that experience like?
So pretty entertaining. I felt really comfortable going to that, or really confident going to that tournament. And then Red asked me when he signed up, or when signups. And then Courtney, my wife, she was like, "Oh, well, there goes our trip to Florida."
Oh no!
I was like, "Ugh." So, just give you the stats on the tournament, and then I'll go back to our match. So on that tournament, we ended up getting to do like a true third, which is cool. I ended up having 3 submissions, all by, you guessed it, north-south. All under a minute and a half. My only loss was to Red. On points, he definitely picked it up towards the end of the match and just started loading up on points. And I have an idea of what he likes to do. He likes his darce, and I was hoping he went for that because I have a good setup against that, and I didn't capitalize. But Red's just as damn good, on his feet as me, and fast and long. So good pressure, and that's how that match went. So I was on the bottom most of the time. With Red, and that obviously didn't give me any opportunities. So
it's interesting because let's chat a little bit about that. I mean, talk about putting you up with somebody who would give you a good match. You guys stylistically cancel each other out in certain areas. Obviously both good wrestlers, but both good scrappers, both solid jiu-jitsu backgrounds. So it's just one of those things where it's almost like an attrition battle in that situation. So I think in that sense it's already fun. I know him as an individual who will push the pace, obviously his body type. He's like that deceptive 135er kind of like weight where you're just like, this isn't fair. You need to go somewhere else. You're a big guy somehow, but yet you're also tiny. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yes. Good. Well, that's that wrestling pressure,
Yeah.
He supplements his training. He's not just like some people who just train jiu-jitsu. He's in the gym every day. He's doing all his jumps every day. He's running. He's active. So, and he works, hard worker. So,
but let's talk about this though. Did you in particular, because I find it very fun to see that you mix it up on the sub-only stage, but Kasai has a very points-oriented tournament. Does that seem like a point system, and be honest, but does that seem like a point system that aligns best for you in your wrestling background, or do you prefer the sub-only version?
So, I was a big point competitor. Until recently, I became a sub-only competitor. I always talk about know your tournaments. Like, you gotta know what you're competing for. And then fight to win is not it's sub-only, but it's not just sub-only. You gotta learn how to begin. You gotta know the format of the tournament and what works for you and make it work to your advantage. So, I think I'm strong in either. Certain competitors, I'm like, okay, I want to go points against them. Certain competitors, I want to go sub-only against them. So you just got to know the styles and the matchups. And I know you can't pick your matches and the format, but you could be prepared for the format. So,
interesting. I mean, and again, as somebody who never really had a wrestling background, half the time I'm always looking at sub-only being like, that seems better. Because that takedown to the begin, especially if you have a wrestler, you're just like, do I have to give up points to get there? Do I have to build that into it? And am I building in being taken down, or do I pull guard and just kind of go with the penalty? Like, there's a lot of questions, I think, jiu-jitsu people who don't have that background, especially when they have somebody like you that they're going against, they have to kind of strategize in that way. And especially one of the things I do like about Kasai is, Kasai is doing a lot of really good work with their talent. So, like, I've seen them treat their athletes super, super well. So I think that's pretty dope. Let me ask this. What has the transition been like in working with 10th Planet? Because you seem happy there. Your style seems to complement it well. Like, what has that experience been like, and how did you get aligned with them?
How I got aligned with 10th Planet was at Shimoyama. I think they had Marcel Lozado when I first went there for a while. And then 10th Planet came in, and Casey and Ron were there. And the different type, the more acrobatic entries, I guess you can say, really stuck to me. And just my style of having fun and trying tricky and flashy stuff. So now with here in Orange County, we have 4 locations. So depending on what I need to work on, I know where to go. And I think the Orange County locations, especially at Orange, tends to focus on a lot of pressure, pass. So, but knowing the sub-only game, a lot of people like to sit back and play with the ankle locks. So I think 10th Planet's perfect for me, because now everybody does ankle locks. I'm like, go ahead, have at it. I need to defend these. I need to, engage in these. So it works, having the opposing style to constantly train with, Well,
that's part of the reason why so many of these jiu-jitsu guys enjoy having a leg lock, because they're just like, whoa, stop whatever you're doing to me, stop, please. It's a lot of takedowns. I don't really need this. I'm going to go straight into rubber guard, and if I have the opportunity, I'm going to try and attack those legs, as I know you're going to try and bull rush into me. So I think it is really nice, especially if you can complement that with the game that you already have. That's, for me personally, it's just fun to watch. So it is cool when you get to combine those things. Having said that, with those things, tell me a little bit about your coaching, because I know that's really cool. You say that you coach both over in Orange and over in Torrance at that UFC gym. there. Tell me a little bit about how you got work there, and what is your kind of philosophy? I know you mentioned a lot of live training and stuff like that, but if people are looking to train out that way, what are some of the reasons why they would or should?
Okay, so I initially came out here for a like consulting gig, and about 2 weeks after that, I said no and like left and quit, and went to UFC gym in La Mirada, and I started teaching there. And I picked up the no-gi program there and like introduced that because at the time I started training with 10th Planet a lot, and about a year later I introduced no-gi. I think one of the things that really set me apart when it comes to coaching is, I mentioned situational drilling, or situational live, however you want to put it. I think one of the biggest things that the coaches negate is teaching a move and then allowing them not to do it. So
Yes.
teaching a move, spending a good hour on it, and then when it goes live, just like, hey, go back to what you're comfortable at, And I think that doesn't allow like your students to grow, especially when they're new. When they're new and they don't know what to do, they're gonna definitely do what they're comfortable with, So I think situational drilling really sets me apart. Also, like people who love to pass, I'm big on passing on my feet. And as of recently, I've become pretty savvy with the honey hole entries and 50-50 and the X break, the things of that sort. So I've really picked up on that knowledge.
So you're starting to mess with X break now too, huh?
So I think back to back, if you look on one of my, so when I was at the Ultimate Mat Warriors, I hit an X guard to X break, and then on Fight to Win in Fresno, I hit an X guard to X break, same technique. So I'm pretty confident with that, and then so I played with that quite a bit. I think that's what sets me apart right now. There's not too many 10th Planet guys in the UFC gym. I think maybe two. I think me and Mike Millingham in Corona. I think he's with the UFC for a while. But really, so that new trend of all the ankle locks, if there's advanced students, they still don't get the opportunity to see that just because there's no really 10th Planet instructors in there. So I think that helps as well.
That's cool. That is really cool that you're able to kind of bring that and bridge that a little bit. Mm-hmm. That's really awesome, man. One of the things that I was very, very happy to see, although, like I said, there were a lot of people who voted for you. They wanted you to get the opportunity to chat. I was excited about that because I like seeing that you were pulling ahead, and I go, oh, yeah, I'll talk to him. That was a good match. That's definitely going to work itself out nicely. One person who I did see that liked you, though, that made me kind of tepid to do this interview, was that Mike John seemed to really, really be endorsing you. And I feel like most people Mike John likes are bad people. So it was a little bit of a hesitation of, I don't know about that.
So me and Michael John I train in the morning with him at Fullerton, and we're one of the two upper belts. So I'm always with Michael John.
I'm sorry. I wish there were better people that you knew and got to train with than Michael John.
He is big. He beats me up. So
you know what it is? It's
short. He might be short, but he's pretty big.
No, he's got that goon strength. Like when I've rolled with Mike John, there are definitely moments where he's just like, he'll look at me and he goes, "Was I gooning that?" And I'm like, "Yes, every part of that was goon." He's like, "I'm sorry, I'm trying not to," and I go, "That's just what you do, you dork." And the best part is it's like, I have a philosophy of this, which is never take away what is somebody's biggest asset. So it's kind of like, you don't trim the nails of like a wild animal. You're like, no, that's kind of what you do, dude. We just got to figure out some stuff around it. And so it's so funny because maybe I should pull these up. I feel like I wanted to make a meme of this. That's like, there's a moment where I saw him and I could see it at the commentary desk, like coming right in front of me, and I was like, don't do it. But I can't yell that out. I was like, whatever you do, Mike, do not do. He's going to jump that guillotine. He is 100% going to jump that guillotine. And when he did, there's definitely a moment where, did you see this match? I guess that's what I should be asking.
No, that's why I'm laughing because I made fun of him too. I was like, "Hey, nice jumping guillotine." Because I'm just like, sit your ass down.
Because it's a funny thing, and like when he did it to me ages ago, we were just kind of working some wrestling and standing up, and I was like, "Hey man, walk me through part of your game," and he did that, and I was like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Oh, hey man, that's what I do," and I was like, "Could you not like anything else, like literally anything else?" And so I had this really funny moment where I'm sitting there at the commentary desk, and I don't want to, ever seem biased or anything like that. So I just try and commentate on things that I know, I can prove, or that I've seen. When he did that, I definitely got a photo, or my sister was taking photos. So we have a couple of those for you. But I felt like I wanted to make one of those memes. You know when they say, like, no one, absolutely no one, Mike John jumping in the air.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Because when that happened, I was just like, this goon is 100% doing something that he deserves to be memed immediately. So I hope that he knows that's probably coming in the future. And he's put a bunch of...
Do you have the picture? Are you gonna put
I'm trying to see if I can find it. If I was a better prepared host, I would have made it a thing, but I didn't expect he would find his way into conversation here as much as he did. However, I will say this. I will 100% make fun of him in the future for it. Here we go. This is what it is. All right, here we go. Make me famous. Yes, somebody should. Look at this. That's the first part, but then... here's the second part.
Oh.
Which is all the better. So that's the one that I want to say. No one, absolutely no one. Mike John jumping and then like getting chucked away.
What you can put on there is white belt jumping. No.
I like the fact that Mike John also put up the broken hearts as if we've totally made him feel bad, which we should. No, he's good people. I enjoy him a lot, and I'm glad that you were able to do that. And it's good that you were able to see that match. Did you see it live, or do you go into your own zone? Like, how does that happen?
I walked out. As soon as I'm done, I walk out. I go say hi to people, go out, grab a beer, engage, and try to, show my not so beautiful face.
Oh God, I don't know what any of that was just right there. You just being like, oh, sorry. I didn't do a sport because I thought it was gay, but look at this face now.
See, exactly. Yeah, people are going to remember that. Go around, just, engage people, thank everybody for coming, and try to get out there and not just hide in the back, which I end up having to because I cornered the guy from Japan after, which hardest thing to communicate. But
okay, let me ask about that because I did see you come back out for that, and I was vaguely... Again, I'm on a microphone headset, so I know if I say it out loud, everyone's going to hear it. But there was definitely an element of, do they know each other? Or is he from Sacramento? Like, what is this? And I couldn't put it together. So how did that happen?
So a couple days before the event, I think like on a Wednesday, he found his way into UFC Torrance. And he walks in and he shows me a picture of me on my Instagram. And he's like, this you? They're like, I'm like, yeah, that's me. And he's like, we're just trying to talk, and I mean trying to talk because his English isn't that great.
Sure.
We ended up using a Google Translator.
Yeah, perfect.
And what he came in for, he was looking for somebody to corner him to help him out for the match, right? So I put on my Instagram and whatnot, and just saw him. He came in the next day. To take class, and I had him actually teach some judo techniques. So I was like, hey, you're a black belt, you're from Japan, teach some techniques, why not? You're here. I don't really get that opportunity. And then weigh-ins, he gave me some really good chocolate from Japan. It was a fudge. I think I was the only one that liked it. I shared it, nobody else liked it. And then I cornered him, so it was cool. He was super fucking excited, screaming, he's like, I love it here. Next day, he's like, I'm going to an Angels game. He enjoyed it. He had fun. He was here for like a week.
So let me hold on. I need to backtrack here. I just want to make sure I'm getting this story straight. So Homeboy does the equivalent of this, and is just like, "That you?" And then you're like, "Yeah, that's me on the poster. What's up, dude?" It's like, "Okay, you're cornering me.
Well, I asked. He told me to find somebody for him, so I tried to ask other people, but nobody wanted to help. I guess
So
nobody.
sad.
Like I posted it, and I was like, free admission, obviously, because you're a corner, right? Free admission. Just need to know some judo, and nobody responded. I posted it like on 2 Instagrams, and nothing.
Oh God.
So, I warmed up with him, got him a little loose, and just videotaped his matches, and that's about it.
And you know what the hard part is? I'm sure for you was, if I recall his matches, he good, man. Like, I don't know how much coaching he really needed to do too, because he had really solid instincts.
Yeah, he was. What I liked about him, again, another one, just engagement with the match, whether it was a sprawl, whether it was a toss. Oh man, you heard him going for it, right? Those loud screams. I was like, yo, dude, this guy's loving it.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
Yeah, so
It
that
was
was cool
it
to
was
see.
hard because I mean, again, I saw it live and I was enjoying it, and then I came here and I saw these photos that my sister got, and there's definitely a few of him just like super passion on his face, like just wearing all of his passion on his sleeve, and I was like, yeah, that dude was dope. Good on him. And I remember, like, it's always great because I go down when I'm editing some of these, and I look at it and I go, oh snap! Like that dude's what's up. Like, if I were a judo player, I'd like to be him, but I also don't fucks with judo, so I'm just saying. Uh, I don't have any more excuse to show this again, but I just want to, just because I like. This is all credit to my sister. Like, this is the stuff that dreams are made of here. It's just so
Have you
funny.
have you posted that yet? Can you just
No,
like?
no. In fact, okay. I'll break a little more kayfabe here. I sent him a photo. I was interviewed this week, and I got interviewed on this very nice show, and I put it up. I promoted it on Verbal Tap's page, and he just goes boo, and I was like, whoa, whoa, kid, watch it. And I literally was editing a photo that was super money of him. That was literally his guillotine finish. And I just thought, I was like, why are you booing me? You don't even know what the hell you're booing. And he's like, what? And I just sent him this. I was like, you boo me, you don't get this photo. And he's like, no, no, no. And I was like, but you have to apologize. And he's like, I don't want to apologize. Why are you such a dick? And I was like, well, I have leverage. And guess who apologized? Mike John. So, boom. Take that. Anyway, he's
I'm just
alright.
talking to him on the chat at the same time.
That's fine. I'm just glad he's watching. He got one of these about a month and a half ago. And then he was like, why aren't you interviewing me? And I was like, because you're old news now. So, yeah, anyway.
If he gets his takedown game up, then maybe he could do interviews. But I think Mike Brown needs a little help on that.
You know what, though? I gotta say, I put that on blast on commentary, too. And I said, no, I got a really good takedown on him. Mike fought his way back very nicely. He was performing up to the crowd, too, which I was a fan of. But I actually feel like that mini touch that he did right off the stage, where he looked for that single and he let Noah know that he could get there. No, he knew he was going to charge in for a bull, and that was going to give him, well, that.
Yeah. Ooh.
So, like, to me, I looked at it and I said, that was a really good strategy. Credit to you, man. And I love Tillis, too. Tillis is the homie. So, that was another one where I was essentially Sweden. But I was just like, that's a great match, man. And I was very, very happy that he got that guillotine. Because, again, with that goon strength, that guillotine is no fun with him.
I had so I don't know Tillis personally. I've heard a lot about him, and he was right by our gym, UFC Gym La Mirada.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest things is something I want to mention for like other schools, which is really cool. You know, you see these UFC gyms come in, and like, oh, they're going to take all our students. I think what really happens is UFC gym like breeds these students who like learn to love jiu-jitsu, and then guess where they go? Tillis, or like the gyms that specialize in jiu-jitsu. So I think those schools, if you guys get a UFC gym, be happy, because you're gonna get the fallout after, like the skilled, technicians that want to get better. So I think that promotes him. I know a couple of our students went there, and I see a lot of their training. I think it's good. I haven't really interacted with Tillis himself, so
He's a very very funny goon as well. I enjoy him, and I originally was supposed to be Tillis and Ruben, and I was like, oh, I like everybody involved here. So it was like when they go, oh, who's gonna take up Ruben's spot? I was like, I don't. Oh, Mike John. You could do better, but I guess that'll work. And I don't know, man. I was super stoked, and it made me happy to see everybody involved on that. And Tillis is good people, but here's the good news that you're doing. You're providing that future step for people. I always tell people this, and I sincerely mean it, which is, I don't care where you're training as long as you're training. Like, if you want to train, one of the hardest things I ever have to do is somebody will tell me what their competitive goals are, or their goals are for life, or whatever. And I go, I think you need to go to this gym. And they'll be like, it's not your gym. And I was like, I would rather you go to a gym that fits you personally than drag you to mine. And just know that whenever you want to train with me, you're more than welcome to. But I need you, if you want to train, you need to fit the right spot so that you can understand why so many of us love this thing for what it is.
Exactly. I think that's one of the most important things as well. Just training, wherever it's at.
So let's do this, man. Tell me a little bit about where people can find you if they're looking to find you. Give us all of your social media plugs. Tell them where they can find you for privates and seminars and all the good stuff. Because here's the thing, dude. After seeing all of that, I was like, yo, I need to have him work on some of my takedowns because some of those are real nice.
So I have a couple Instagrams. I have two, or three actually. To Albert Tapia Jr., just like it's spelled, my name. That's like my personal Instagram, so you'll see a lot of like just what I do in my daily life with tournaments and just life like that. My work Instagram, Albert Tapia _UFC gym. That's where I work for. I try to, keep it separated so that there's not a mix-up. You know what to go look for. And what I'm building that's kind of in the works, where it's like the long-term goal. I'm going to change the name, but right now it's Ground Karate _no-gi. And what I'm putting on there is a lot of technique videos. Eventually, my end goal, is to open up a 10th planet in Northern California. So that's just kind of building right there. There's tons out here in SoCal. So I want to start opening up to NorCal. There's not, I think the closest one to where I live is Stockton, but it's like a split school.
Sure.
So kind of want to open up that, side of the state to 10th planet. But any of those gyms, and I always post constantly when I'm running, whether a seminar or a camp or privates, on my Instagrams, and they can find all that information on there. Facebook, Albert Tapia. Hopefully you find me.
I think you need to do a little better job of being like, good luck. I don't know.
Luck. Well, if you can't find the name Albert Tapia, it has a fight to win photo. So that should give it away.
Oh,
I don't think there's too many fight to win photos out there.
I'm pretty sure everybody has a fight to win photo. I've never even been on one, and I'm literally pretty sure that someone's mocked up something for me. It's just the numbers of people who have been on those cards are high. That's great. Again, I cannot emphasize taking a seminar with this or a private with this man because you made it a lot of entertaining entries, and it just, like I said, I love it when I can see how effortless it looks on stage because it tells me how many times you've had to do it prior to that. And, I'm not stupid enough to believe that when I'm doing my wrestling work, because I didn't do wrestling as a kid, I did soccer, and the hard... Oh, shut up. Well, first of all, if we're going to talk about who's being a real disgrace to their brownness, you not doing soccer is definitely something that you should have shame for.
1 year. 1 year. So
that doesn't protect you from anything.
I gave my 1 year in.
Anyway, I just knew that for the fact, hey, I'll say this. Soccer is the only reason I'm not more obese. Because I had a great metabolism for about a good 10 years. And then that went away. But I was about your size for years. I was like about $140-ish. And I was like, man, I really wish I could get up to 155. And then once college hit, I was like, oh, I'm at 155. Can this stop now? And I stayed at 155, and the only reason I had stayed there was just from the years of running in soccer, because I played soccer 11 years. But soccer was the same season as wrestling, and I always kind of like, man, I wish they were different seasons. That would have been cool. But jiu-jitsu found itself to me at a different time. The sucky part now is just trying to learn all the wrestling at this age is always like, oh God, why did they do this? This is so stupid.
That's why I love teaching wrestling and jiu-jitsu. You just mentioned it for me. One of the things, again, learning wrestling at this old age, like, that's painful, right? Just for the simple fact of, like, dropping to your knee to take a shot, that's tiring, that's painful, that adds up, makes me not want to learn wrestling. So one of the things I focus on is learning to stay on your feet, learning not to drop to your knee when I'm teaching teaching wrestling and jiu-jitsu. It's just getting away from, like, getting under people, pounding on your knee, getting sprawled on. So I try to stay away from that. And less damage to the body makes it a little bit more entertaining to learn, so.
If you say so. There's very few sports that I would say are more unforgiving to the body than being like, are you in your 30s? You want to try wrestling? Dope. Great. Just say goodbye to everything that feels good. No, I mean, I get it. I've developed a sort of game that's kind of a counter game, and I'm not even trying to like be a master at it. I just want to be able to explain it to people. And more importantly, I think it's, especially as a commentator, it's so much easier if you feel something that you can then explain to other people. There's no rhyme or reason why I would be able to commentate what you're good at if I didn't try to do that myself. So to me, I'm like, it's building the little blocks that I need to go. But, I definitely respect when it's better, and I'm like, ooh, shiny, that looks good. That's definitely very impressive. So I have a giant appreciation for that. Well, Albert, I appreciate your time, man. I'm so glad that the people voted you in. I'm so glad that you had so many people who loved you and felt like you were worthy of recognition, of talking to me, I guess, if that's a reward. But to me, I know that one thing is for certain, which is good jiu-jitsu always kind of pierced through. So I'm really stoked that the people wanted you to be interviewed because you were somebody who stuck out to me. And I always try to give a little bit of shine to people who I think put on a good show. So big congrats to you, my man.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. I think it's a good avenue to get my name out there even more than what it is. So I appreciate your time.
Not a problem.
And everybody who voted for me. Thank you guys.
What's that?
And thank everybody that voted for me.
So yeah, those people are, like I said, I'm not sure if Keith voted for you, but he sucks too. And there's a whole bunch of people I can go through and just say are terrible human beings. So you're lucky that you had people voting for you, but some of the caliber of the people, questionable. But anyway, here's what's going to happen, guys. I'm going to go to a commercial break right now. When I come back from the commercial break, we're going to bring on another individual who had a very, very solid performance over at Fight to Win. We are in the middle of contacting Bruno Valdivino, so we will be back with that. My thanks to Albert for an amazing, amazing interview. We'll be right back after these messages. The Grappling Hour is brought to you by Luda Gear, athletic support items created by grapplers for grapplers. Hey, what's up, everybody? We are looking to bring on Bruno right now, who is, I believe, coming to us live. It sounds like from a car. Bruno, can you hear me, sir? Okay, I will hold up. All right, we're going to give him a second to go ahead and get situated. He will be on the show in just a second. I also want to say thank you very much to Albert for an amazing interview. We had a very, very good conversation. If you guys missed that, right now we are on both Facebook and we are also on YouTube. If you haven't had the opportunity to go ahead and add us on all of those channels, go ahead and take care of that accordingly because you want to follow us at Grappling Hour on both Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. You can find us on all those pages, but it looks like we have Bruno all now live to the live. Bruno, how are you doing, sir? You are doing great. So where are you traveling to right now? Okay, what does one eat right after training?
you know, train light, and I go eat one chipotle because
So
I can.
so is Chipotle something that you have to not eat when you are in the middle of getting ready for a match or a fight or something?
Yes, always.
Okay, well, walk me through the order because I know what I get at Chipotle, but what do you get at Chipotle?
Uh, Everything: rice, black beans, steak, chicken, pico, black beans. You know,
So you're
avocado.
well, avocado is pretty necessary. I will say this: after any good training session, avocado is one of the first things that I crave because it's the good fat, and I know it fills me up a little bit faster. So afterwards, I'll usually crave like rice bowls with salmon or something with a good avocado. But this is how you splurge when you've just won and done a great match over at Fight to Win.
Yes, in fight to win is. I got a great match with my train partner João too. He stayed the car with me. All right.
Oh, he did a great job too. Oh, look at this, a two for
Yeah, you
one.
got an amazing submission. Okay,
Well,
got
hold on, hold
armbar.
on. Is he old enough to drive? How old are you, kid?
I'm 21.
You're 21? You look young. I just want to point it out, especially with the Harry Potter glasses. I just want to make sure you know you look like a kid,
Yeah,
okay?
you with the Harry Potter. No, I got it out the car.
No, no,
Sorry.
go right ahead. No, he was quite superb with his match as well. He had an amazing reversal that we were talking about right after all the matches went. So I hope you know your reversal that you hit to finish what I believe was the armbar, correct?
Yes, that was the armbar. He tried the Americana, but didn't work out.
No, no, it was pretty solid, man. You got a good game to yourself. I was very happy to hit that. And I mean, let's talk about you having also one of the best takedowns of the tournament as well.
Oh, really? Thank you.
I know somewhere on here my sister took some photos and you definitely got some good airtime. And I can say this because I know Fletch personally. So Fletch is a friend, but you kind of messed him up with that takedown. So that was kind of nice.
Yeah, that was. I was just going aggressive with it. That was my game plan for the night, and it worked out as I planned. Hope, thankfully.
But here's the good news. He was just fine. It's just a matter of afterwards when I saw him and I went up to him, I said, yo, Fletch, that takedown though, he was good at that. He's like, yeah, it was a really good takedown, you know?
Yeah, when I saw the replay, I saw that was. I really couldn't I didn't give any space for the guy. It was just too fast. Even I can't believe how good I did. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. If I were you, I'd be putting that takedown on replay all day long. I'd just be like, hey, have you seen my takedown? Do you guys want to watch it again? Because I'll watch it with you guys.
Yeah. Every time I saw anybody, I asked if they like it because it was super dope.
Well, you should be very proud of yourself, young man. That was a very dope thing. So, but let's talk a little bit about Bruno. Bruno, I'm very happy to have you on the show. Clearly, a lot of people loved what you did. So, tell me a little bit about how the match came together for you, sir.
Oh, sorry. You can speak
Just
again.
yeah, of course. Tell me how the match came together.
The mat.
The match.
Uh, um, I don't know. Like he's very very strong, you know. And I tried the I made some submissions and got a knee bar, maybe omoplatas, but he's very strong. He defends a lot, and yeah, that's it.
That's pretty impressive. So let me ask this: when you did get put it together, like who contacted you to do this match?
The fight to win and send a mail for me. How can I have people? Sorry, I got my chipotle now.
Sure.
Spice sauce. Corn.
I will tell you guys this. This is a first. I've never had a guest order Chipotle in the middle of their interview. I will give him some credit. He trained very hard with a young man who has some good takedowns. So I get this. I get that he needs to replenish the goods right now. So I want to make sure that we're getting the inside scoop here, though. You did go for the Bryce Bowl, right?
Yes. Yeah, for you.
Very nice.
Separate.
All right. So here's the thing, guys. When we talk about this gentleman's match, it was very, very impressive. There was a lot of very fun moments to watch in it. A lot of people were very excited for it. I think he was one of the top vote getters outside the main event, which, by the way, was also impressive. When we get the chance, when he's about to sit down, I'm going to ask a couple questions about that match. And more importantly, when he said that Fight to Win was reaching out to him. So that's how the match came together, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Did you know who your opponent was going to be, or what was that information like? How was that transferred to you?
No, I don't have information about him. He sent email for me like, Bruno, do you wanna fight? I have one guy for you. I'd say okay, I go. But I know worries about the game with my opponent. I worry about my game.
Mm-hmm.
My game is more important.
I mean, the fun part is I'm looking over here. My sister took some photos. I don't know how well you can see this, but I feel like when you're talking about really, really cool moments, like just looking at something like that, my sister was able to capture just a few of those moments of just like, it's intense, dude. The transitions that you had were sick in that match.
Yeah, this position I'm training. This weekend the fight I'm training this position, for get the knee bar.
Uh-huh.
My professor Lucas Rocha, he's very, very good this position. And I'm training the weekend for Gary for this match in Fight to Win. I'm almost finished, but my right arm is very, very tired. I don't know why. I think it's a little bit nervous and adrenaline too.
Sure.
Adrenaline for the match because I know Gary like super fights a lot. The tournaments. In tournaments you go, I have 3 matches. You get it little by little. You can stay a little bit, no movement. But the super fight, only submissions. You need to do it again. Do it. Don't stop. Keep going. Try the submissions, and I get it tired. 6 minutes, my right arm is no work more. I try to get the knee bar. I'm pushing, but I don't get it. He's strong too. He's good man. He's good fighter. He's very strong.
No, and I mean it was a good match to watch, and you guys were definitely putting on a very good show. I mean, again, when you say that, and I want you kind of to walk me through this positioning, but just again, looking here, the transitions that you're making between the knee bars and your toe holds, just the way that you were switching up between them, like it was fun to watch, man.
Yeah. So this position, my professor Lucas is very good. This position, he's teaching me a lot. This position, the knee bar, and I try more these submissions.
Yeah.
I hopefully.
Well, let me ask this. I want to ask about your beginnings. How did jiu-jitsu find its way to you?
Como você começou no jiu-jitsu? When did you start?
I started in Brazil. It's my city. I think 14 years ago. I have like 14 years old, and I got started jiu-jitsu because my brother invited me for try one class, and I try. I like it, amazing, and I never more stop. So it's I'm grow up and born and grow up in one city. It's very little bit city, It's very little city, and I'm start going the big city like the name Teresina, Piauí. And in Teresina, I meet my professor Marcelo Royler, and I move and leave the city and train every day, 2 times a day, and I start going for Recife, Pernambuco. The Professor Zé Radiola. He's amazing coach. I think he have like 47 world champions. The gym, the student, and start training with him, and I start go Brazilian nationals, and start competing in big events like Worlds, Panams, and 3 years ago, and I come for live in California and train with Lucas, Gabriel Souza, Diego Senoção, and João coming too. And now I live here. I'm teacher here. I have it's great. Live the dream. I live the dream in jiu-jitsu. Teacher, fire is school. It's my dream now.
Let me ask, what year did you start?
When?
Qual ano? What year?
I don't know exactly, but like 14 years ago.
14
years
okay.
ago.
Okay.
Like 14 years ago.
Bruno is not good at math.
They're not good at math.
Well, I mean, I didn't ask you to subtract anything. Let me ask this.
2005.
2005.
So 2005-ish. Okay. When did you know that you fell in love with jiu-jitsu?
Você perguntou como feito no jiu-jitsu.
Quando você se apaixonou pelo jiu-jitsu?
I don't know, like, because jiu-jitsu is different, Jiu-jitsu is very different than other sports. Before I'm training taekwondo, I'm training capoeira, but jiu-jitsu is different. Like, you get a new family, new brothers. Like, it's different. I like all sports, but jiu-jitsu, you feel good, you feel more confident, and I don't know. I start training and feel good and say, this is good for me. I like competition. I like put myself in challenges, And jiu-jitsu is for everyone. Everyone can do it. Everyone can train, I like it. I don't know why, but I love it. This is my life now,
What has the transition to living in California been like?
The Californians, they dream for all jiu-jitsu competitors, And Professor Zé called me and invited me for coming, for teaching, for train. I'd say, okay, I go. And I love California. It's the big tournaments is here. All high competitors here too. And California is amazing. It's the dream. All competitors, all professors wanna come in here. If I have opportunity, I'd say, okay, I go fast. I like it. It's opportunity to train every day for Lucas Rocha, for Gabriel, for Senoção, Diego Senoção. It's It's amazing for me. It's good for me. It's, my game is every day is better. Every day I'm learn a lot more. Every day I improve more.
Well,
California.
are there any things that you miss about home?
Food.
Food. You
Yeah.
say that in front of our most distinguished food joint, Chipotle. You talk about missing food when we have one of the best things America has to offer right in back of you.
In Brazil is big. Brazil is very big. We country in Brazil is Nordeste. Nordeste have different like foods, kind of foods. You know, I think it's Nordeste have the best foods all the world. You know? It's
What?
good.
Okay. If if you were asked what the best food in Brazil is, what would that answer be?
Oh my god, have a lot. Like muqueca. Muqueca is like fish, shrimps, and feijoada, and the barbecues. Barbecue is amazing. Yeah, I think this is. I very very miss this. The
Is there
food.
is there anything close to it that you have experienced here in California? Is there any place, because I know we have a lot of different food places, but has there been any place that kind of gets you a little close to it, at least that you've tried yet so far?
The Chipotle is very very close. The taste, but my favorite food in California, I love it, and it's poke.
Nah.
Oh, In-N-Out. No, In-N-Out's a
Yeah,
very good
In-N-Out.
answer. Okay, that's fine.
It's not the best. It's not the best.
Well, okay, I'm about to kick you off my show if you don't start saying the right things. No, I want to make it very clear. You said that you like poke. Where do you like your poke from? I like to consider myself a poke connoisseur.
Poke is white rice.
Não. Ele tá perguntando qual lugar que tu prefere.
Mm,
You don't know the name.
I don't know the name. This.
We go to a place close to our place.
Yeah, I go like close the gym in Laverne gym. Laverne ZR have one good place by close the poke.
Yeah.
But I forget the name.
Okay.
I think it's OK Poke.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I
Yeah.
like them. I've
It's
had
very
them
famous.
before.
OK Poke.
Okay. All right. I like that place. That makes sense. Let me ask this: how long have you been a black belt now?
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. What has been the most challenging aspect of being a black belt over the past 3 years?
Que tá me escutando mais ainda?
Qual foi o momento mais desafiador?
In 3 years, I think start the kids class. They teach a kids class. You know? The kids here is different. The kids in Brazil, it's very different. You know? And start the kids class by myself. It's for me, and it's my challenge. You know, the black belt, the teachers, black belts start the teaching kids class.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, teaching kids is not easy, especially
No, easy.
when their attention spans are all over the place, and half the time you can teach them something really cool and they don't understand, and then next thing you know, you're playing dodgeball and not jiu-jitsu with them,
Yeah.
So I get it. Okay, well, that's really cool. What is your favorite part about competition? Like, what do you love so much about it? Because you mentioned that you loved competition.
Okay.
Qual é a parte que você mais gosta da competição?
I think when the guys call your name and you go for the match, you know. Before this, I'm very nervous. I got nervous. I know you sleep good. I know eat good. You know, one night before the match, It's like that. But when I put my headphones, start singing the music, and the guys call the name and go the mat, I enchant myself, and I go, I want to kill this guy. I need get win. This is my favorite part. It's adrenaline. It's like you get a confidence. I can do that. I get win for sure. And go and just do it. You know, it's my favorite part.
That's awesome. What is the best part about training with Lucas?
Uh because every day has different details. You know, you ask him about the end positions, he know. He have details for everything. It's amazing for me. I ask Lucas, I have question about this. I have this. I have this detail. You know, not only him, but Gabriel have it, and Professor Diego Senoção have it. João have it. You know, it's good team. Everyone have one detail is different. It's helped me a lot. The knee bar. This knee bar, I'm training 1 weekend for this mat. You know, the details, and after the mat, have more details about this position. It's amazing. I like it.
So after your match, you guys kind of get together and watch it and analyze that as well?
Yeah, and it's that it's no good this, it's good this position, but you need to improve this. It's good. It's good. For next match, I have all the details. I have more options.
Okay. All right. So let me ask this. What's coming up next for you? What do you have coming up, like super fights, or are you getting ready for maybe no-gi worlds, pans, that sort of stuff? Like, what's up next for you?
I want more super fights because I like it a lot. I love it, super fights. If I have more opportunities for competing super fight, I will go. But next one, I want to go the Masters World.
Okay. And how old are you?
Now I have 30.
You just turned... No, okay. See, here's the thing. Masters Worlds is to get away from people like you. The whole reason they create that is so that you can go win the adult stuff and the Masters can do theirs. The fact that you turned 30 this year is like, no, we added 5 more years.
I'm still competing in adults class,
No, I know, but the poor guy who's going to be going up against you is going to be like, I need an age check on this kid. Get his ID. I want to make sure he's old enough.
This guy? The João?
No, you too. You look young too.
I have 30 years old.
You look young.
Yeah, and I still competing adults class, but everyone, hey, you need to go the Master Worlds. Go the Master Worlds. I go the Master Worlds. And the next one, the big one, I have the Grand Slam, Los Angeles Grand Slam, Abu Dhabi Federation, September, and have the no-gi Worlds. There's no-gi Worlds. It's big, It's no-gi Worlds. I'm start training more no-gi now. For no-gi Worlds is my focus. This year is win Worlds no-gi.
Okay.
IBJJF, yeah.
And the nice part about it is your game translates very nicely to what I feel is very, very important in no-gi.
Yeah. But it's no-gi. For me, it's very hard,
Yeah.
Very, very hard. I don't train a lot no-gi. You need, like, good conditioner training, too.
Yeah.
A lot, Yeah, I need to train more no-gi for no-gi Worlds. It's amazing, guys,
Yeah.
It's my divisions, it's crazy. It's featherweight. You have a lot good guys.
Yeah.
I need to improve every day.
Okay. All right. Well, you mentioned that you wanted to get more super fights.
Yeah, I
Where
wanna.
okay, where would you like these super fights to be on? Because again, I thought that you put together a nice resume for the fight to win, aka the Subversive. That was just this weekend. If you had your ideal shot, where would you like to compete at?
Onde tu queria competir? Casai.
Kasai is good.
Okay. Why Kasai?
Not because now is big event. Have big names. World champions, Pan Am champions, and I think it's good for me. Kasai is big tournament. So Kasai is good. If you have the other opportunity for fight to win, I want to go because fight to win is good too. I like it. It's very good organization. I like it. Fight to win. It's good show. Good show.
Good shot. All right. That's good stuff. Okay. Well, let me ask just a couple more questions here. One of the things that I always like to kind of get a base for people is to get an idea of, what is it that you love about jiu-jitsu at your life right now? Like, what is it that you like? Because obviously you loved it when you made it as a profession and to move here to the States. But what do you love right now about jiu-jitsu?
Right now about jiu-jitsu because I can get money for sure. It's good money, and the lifestyle is different for the other jobs. Jiu-jitsu is different. You go teacher, you train, eat good, sleep good. You have time for everything. If you wanted to do the other thing, like go schools, go the other sports, you have time, and you meet different people too. Every day have different people in the gym. You get new friends. This part is I like it. It's meet different peoples. Talk different peoples. So I like it.
That's awesome. All right. Well, tell us this. If people are looking to train with you or get privates or get you for seminars, that sort of stuff, where would they be able to find you and how would they be able to get a hold of you?
Se alguém quer seminário ou aula particular, como é que eles te contatam?
Basically, the Instagram. Everyone have Instagram and send message for me, and I go private. I go teach seminars or special class. Basically Instagram. Instagram is
okay.
Everyone have it. It's more easy.
It is pretty easy to get a hold of and do that there.
Yeah.
Well, that's great stuff. Before we go, though, I did want you to go ahead and share these couple quick photos with Zhao over right now because I don't know that when I said my sister got a couple photos of some really good.
Nice. This is nice one.
Hold up. I got one more over here like that.
This is nice.
Just that airtime.
Photos, man.
Can you send this photo?
We'll talk. We'll have your people talk to my people.
Negotiate.
But I definitely know there's definitely one over here that I think my sister got that I think was quite bueno. So
Woo!
definitely have some good stuff there.
That moment was hard. He wasn't willing to tap out.
Well, I'll be very clear about it. I saw that moment and I said, yeah, you've got a good break there, and he may be willing to let it go a little bit more than most people. You know what I mean?
I thought he was going to escape, though.
He was close. I think he was starting to. He just couldn't quite get the hitchhiker kind of going for him, you know?
I don't know. It was weird. I was, like, at the moment, I was in agony, like, the first time. Because he started rolling, and I didn't know, and then I used my both hands to push onto his elbow. And he didn't. And that moment I was like, damn, this is gonna be a hard fight. But eventually I got to settle the position and finish.
Did the little, like, because the thing that tripped me up was like the little Americana from underneath. Did that trip you up for a second? Because it just looked weird. I don't know that it was a submission per
Uh,
se.
Some people got these like in weird situations before with me.
Sure.
Sometimes you off balance and you fell down, right?
Right.
But I think with the adrenaline and all the energy I was coming up, all the training I've been through, I was like, I wasn't gonna let go of it. And the transition for the armor was just felt natural. I didn't even train that thing.
No, I mean, if you didn't train it, well, it sure looked like you did, because I saw that and I go, that was all instinct that you were reacting off of there. You were potentially going to be in danger. You saw your opening and you took very, very well advantage of it. You could have fooled me because it looked like something that was in your arsenal that you do a lot.
Yeah, like I got a lot of submissions. I'm always trying to fight forward. Like from bottom, top, takedowns. I try to like always have a complete game. I was training so much heel hooks and leg locks. You have no idea, but like I didn't like try like didn't get to use it. That was what I was more focused on because I was training gi before. I trained no gi for 2 weeks and came up for this fight.
Well, like I said, I've trained with Fletch a bunch. He's a friend of mine, and I saw that beautiful sequence that you hit on him, and I was like, damn, that's really good. So that was a huge, huge credit to you,
Thank
man.
you.
That was really solid. And like I said, I talked with Fletch afterwards, and he was just like, he goes, you know what, dude? He goes, I would have loved to have fought that, but I also want to have an arm on Monday. And I was like, I don't blame you, dude. It looked like that was not a good place to be in. So
oh no, that was tight, man. He's a tough dude because a lot of people would tap out much earlier than like I don't like what I say. I thought he was gonna escape at first, and I got to adjust the position. But anyway, that was a great match.
Well, again, kudos to you, my man, and kudos to you, Bruno. Very, very thankful that you guys were able to take time just to chat with us today. I very much appreciate your guys' time, and we look forward to seeing you competing. I'm pretty sure we'll see you back on the circuit sooner than later, sir.
Thank you. Thanks so much for the opportunity for talk about my job. Talk about my team. Thank you. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
You guys have a great rest of your day over at Chipotle. I'm a little disappointed in how fast you guys eat and compared to how I eat, because I probably wouldn't even still be done if I was eating there. So I just want to tell you guys, thank you very much for your time. You have a great rest of your day, you guys.
I wanted the pictures.
Well,
You can send forward.
we'll think about it. They're not. I mean, we'll figure out something here, but they're not free photos. Otherwise, I'm taking free seminars from you very soon.
Oh, maybe.
But I'll get in touch with you guys. Anyway, thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a good day, my friend.
You too, buddy. That's really funny. All right, you guys. Well, that has been a fun experiment today. What a nice surprise to get Zhao on the end of that call as well. Zhao and Bruno, thank you guys very much for your time. And thank you over to Albert. We had a great conversation as well. Here's the deal, you guys. If you have not added us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube, what's wrong with you? Go fix that right now. Add @Grappling Hour on all of your major social media platforms. Say hello to us. We do good interviews. We bring on people who won at Subversive over the weekend. We might have another person coming up very soon who won at a Subversive main event match. I'll let you think about that for a little bit. Anyway, folks, I believe that's going to do it for us today. My thanks to all of our guests. My thanks to you for tuning in. And, I think that's going to do it for us. It's been a great day. And I want to thank all of you guys who watched Subversive and sent wonderful notes. If you guys like me and John Evans doing commentary, do me a solid. Go tell them you liked us. Go tag @Flow Grappling. Go tag any major grappling event and let them know that your boys, John Evans and Rafa Esparza, would love to commentate their grappling events. Because guess what? We're pretty good. And we make it fun. And we thank you guys for that. All right, that's going to do it for us here at Grappling Hour. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you on the mats.